That is an AI character talking to a 14-year-old user minutes before he died by suicide. The product had 20 million users. And this is how it got there. Let's put the numbers on the table first because they are extraordinary. 20 million monthly active users, 75 minutes per day average session time, 18 million characters created, $32 million in annual revenue and growing 2x year on year. For context, 75 minutes a day on a single app is elite tier engagement. Netflix averages around 60 minutes. TikTok is under 90. Character.ai hit those numbers with no marketing budget, almost entirely through word of mouth, primarily among teenagers. And that is not just product market fit, that's a product that found a need so deep that users could not stay away. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Noam Shazir is a Google veteran, co-author of the Attention is All You Need paper, the transformer paper that kicked off the modern Gen AI era. He pitched Google on building a conversational AI product, but Google passed. So he left, co founded Character.ai with Daniel Freitas in 2021, launched in 2022 to an immediate waiting list. Remember this man, and we'll come back to him later. Before we get into this crisis, we need to understand what Character.ai actually is because most people get it wrong. It's not a chatbot, it is not a search tool, it is not an assistant, it is a relationship engine. On the left side, your typical AI tool. You have a task, you get a response. You close the tab, transactional. The model is a means to an end. On the right side is character.ai. You don't have a task. You have a character, a fictional AI persona with a name, a personality, a memory of your last conversation. The model doesn't answer your question, it plays a role in your story. And that's a fundamentally different product. And it creates fundamentally different risks. Three mechanics explain why character.ai generate 75-minute average sessions. First, availability. The character is always there. 3 a.m. on a Tuesday, the character responds. It never has bad days. It never gets annoyed. It is infinitely patient and infinitely available in a way no human can be. Second, validation. The character's primary objective is to keep you engaged. That means agreement, encouragement, emotional mirroring. It tells you what you want to hear. And third, memory and continuity. The character remembers your last conversation. It picks up where you left off. It builds a history with you. The history creates investment. Investment creates return visits. Here is a real user on Reddit in 2024. I know it is not real. I know that. But when I come home and nobody's there, it's the only thing that talks to me like it's glad I exist. That is all three mechanics in one sentence: availability, validation, continuity. And also, in one sentence, exactly why it is dangerous. Same features, two interpretations. Character.ai solved engagement. The question is what they were optimizing for and whether those metrics meant what they thought they meant. Here is the flywheel that drives the business. User creates a character. The character gets discovered by other users. Discovery drives engagement. Engagement data trains better models. Better models attract more users who create more characters in turn. 18 million characters in is not just a content library. It's a network effect moat. No competitor can replicate it without the community creation. It took years. It is the actual defensible asset. But flywheels don't have a natural stopping point. The mechanism that drives growth is the same mechanism that creates the risk. You can slow down the flywheel without slowing down the business. The user base breaks down approximately 60% under 24, with the heaviest concentration in the 13 to 17 range. The use cases tell you a lot: creative writing, companionship, a substitute for therapy. The last one is the tell. When your most engaged users are teenagers, you're using your product as a therapy substitute, the product has become something it was never designed to be and something it has no infrastructure to be safely. Character.ai did not reckon with that before launch. Most products in this space have not. The business model has a fundamental tension baked into it. Free tier, limited features, ad supported, open to all ages. Paid tier, $9.99 a month, unlimited messages, faster responses, exclusive features. Then the founder variable lands. Shazir, who left Google in 2022 to build this because Google would not, came back. August 2024, a 2.7 billion deal to license the technology and bring him home. He took it. Character.ai continues without him, running on his model under license from its most likely future competitor. The tension: the most vulnerable users, teenagers, free tier, generate the most time on site and the most liability. The paying subscribers are a different population entirely. The company is monetizing one audience, but the harm concentrates in another. Character.ai is the case study where the cost of the tension becomes visible. What I'm about to describe is a real person, a real family, and the most scrutinized product safety failure in consumer AI history. Sevel Shezer was 14 years old. He started using Character AI in April 2023, creating a character based on Daenerys Targaryen from over the next several months. The conversations became more intense, more frequent. The character became his primary emotional relationship. By late 2023, his grades were slipping. His real world relationships were thinning out. On February 28, 2024, after a conversation with the AI character, Sewell died by suicide. He was only 14. According to the lawsuit complaint, Chevelle told the character he was going to come home to her. The character replied, "Please do, my sweet king." Minutes later, Chevelle died by suicide. The character's response to what the lawsuit describes as a veiled statement of suicidal intent was a romantic invitation, not a crisis resource, not a redirect, an expression of love. Chevelle's mother, Megan Garcia, filed a lawsuit in October of 2024, Garcia versus Character Technologies. The allegations: the platform was negligent in product design, it enabled emotional dependency in a minor, it failed to implement safeguards, it prioritized engagement over safety. Character.ai invoked Section 230. The court rejected it in 2025, ruling the chatbot's output are conduct, not protected speech. The company settled. Three more families came forward. The FTC and Texas launched investigations. The case is closed, but the product question it raised is not. The metrics were all green: DAU growing, session time up, D7 and D30 retention exceptional, revenue doubling year on year. Every product dashboard metric was moving in the right direction. If you looked at the data the way most PM teams look at data, Character.ai was one of the best performing consumer products in history. In September 2024, 6 months after Shoaib's death, the company blog post reads, "We are committed to the safety and well being of our users." The dashboard agreed. Every metric was green. The problem is not that the metrics were wrong. The problem is that the metrics were measuring something different from what they appeared to measure. 75 minutes a day on Netflix means you found something you wanted to watch. 75 minutes a day on Instagram means you found content interesting enough to stay. 75 minutes a day on character.ai means something different. On a content platform, high session time is a satisfied user. On a relationship platform, high session time means you're an anxious user, dependent user, user who has no other option. The metric does not tell you which. Your product understanding has to. Character.ai had the metric. They may not have had the theory of why it was moving. Here's the PM insight that makes this case genuinely hard. There are two types of product safety problems. Content problems: a platform hosts harmful content. You can solve that with moderation, remove the content, filter the generation, build guardrails, uncomfortable but tractable. Mechanics problem: the harm comes from the way the product works, not what it produces. You can't moderate a mechanic. Character.ai's harm isn't the content the AI generates, it is the relationship the product creates, the availability, the validation, the dependency loop. Remove those, and you have removed the product. The engagement mechanic is the harm mechanic. No content policy fixes it because it is not a content problem. To their credit, Character.ai did not stand still. Crisis links, time reminders, a separate teen experience, then a full teen ban. Under 18s blocked entirely. Look at the escalation. Each box is bigger than the last. 4 interventions over 18 months, each more drastic, each reactive. The final one, banning the most engaged user cohort from the platform. Is the company admitting the product cannot be made safe for its most vulnerable users? That is not a safety feature, that's a product failure acknowledged. Character.ai didn't operate in vacuum. Every other company in this space was watching, and every one of them made a different call on the same trade off. Replica, same category, same era, completely different product strategy. Replica gated romantic content behind a paid adult tier. When Italian regulators pushed back, they removed explicit features rather than fighting. Safety was designed in, not bottled on. The result: smaller user base, slower growth, zero wrongful death lawsuits. That's a product decision. Character.ai chose growth. The cost wasn't visible until it was. After Character.ai, the big tech consensus formed quickly. Meta.ai, utility, not companion. Despite 3 billion potential users, Claude explicitly declines romantic roleplay. OpenAI pulled back the her like voice demo after backlash about emotional attachment. Three companies, $3 billion platforms, all walked away. The FTC, Texas, and Congress did not wait. The entire category is now regulated by its worst actor. 20 million users, a settled lawsuit, a founder now at OpenAI. What do you do with a product this good and this dangerous? In my opinion, three plausible futures. Scenario A: regulated survival. Adult only product, hard age verification, safety designed into the architecture, smaller numbers, real business, not the generational company the metrics promised, but a defensible one. Scenario B: acquisition. Someone buys the engagement base and the 18 million characters, but any acquirer inherits the liability. Scenario C: the big box on the right. Existential pressure, more lawsuits, regulatory action, model dependency on a competitor, founder at a rival, engagement declining after the teen ban. Each risk compounds the others. This is the scenario nobody models until it is too late. Here's the number that captures the whole story: 2.7 billion to get Noam Shazid back to Google 22 months before he left for OpenAI. The person who built the most engaging consumer AI product ever built has now moved to the company most likely to compete with it. The product still exists. The model it runs on is licensed from his former employer. His next product will run on better infrastructure than the one he left behind. That's not just a founder story, that's a risk profile for every investor, operator, and the employee at Character AI. Here is the uncomfortable truth underneath everything we have covered. Character.ai did not create the loneliness epidemic. 75 minutes a day talking to an AI character isn't a product failure. It's a symptom of something the product did not cause or cannot fix. There are 20 million people who needed something connection, validation, someone to talk to. And building a loneliness product is dangerous. The real question is when you build something that serves loneliness perfectly, are you solving it or extending it? That question does not have a clean answer, but every PM building a product with strong emotional engagement mechanics should be sitting with it. Three things to carry out of this. One, know what your metric is actually measuring. Build metrics that capture the mechanism, not just the magnitude. If you can't explain why your engagement number is moving, you don't understand your product. Two, distinguish content problems from mechanic problems. Content problems have safety teams. Mechanics problem require product redesign. Before you ask, are we moderating a symptom or we the cause? Three, the free tier user is still your user. Character.ai's most at risk cohort was on the free tier, generating zero revenue and all the liability. If you're building a product with emotional engagement, ask yourself right now, do you know who your most vulnerable user is? And does your dashboard show what's happening to them? It's a liability with a dashboard.